Which to say, I mean, while we're on the topic, did you see the story of the guy that got lost in Jackson Marsh?
Oh yeah, that was on Facebook. They were blaming you for that.
They were.
People in the comments were. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's not far from here. We've actually
Did
got a
he?
person on the forum named Jackson Marsh because that's where he lives and hunts.
Oh
But
really?
yeah, I guess he went out there and called called his
Mom.
mom up and said started crying or something and sucking his thumb and said he was wet and cold and they sent out helicopters and rafts and all kinds of stuff to like half the country to go out there and pull the kid out of the marsh. And some
Yep.
people do not belong in swamps.
Yeah.
You could airlift me over the top blindfolded and drop me into the middle of one of these marshes. I don't even have to know which marsh, and I'll walk right out. I don't know what the
Yeah.
problem is.
Yeah. There is like a. It was probably something we should talk about on this show. Is and I've seen people asking in the comments too about walking through cattails and stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it is intimidating for someone like when I first went to a marsh. Like you, you know, it. I mean, that's a lake out there almost. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's a? I guess to you, how do you prevent yourself from going underwater in a marsh?
Well, I would say that most people are afraid of the marsh because it starts moving on you and stuff. You get out there in the boggy areas,
Mm,
and a lot of these marshes, especially around here, they're uh, they're floating on an under the marsh lake kind of thing.
yeah.
So when you walk on them, you'll see it floats around like a waterbed. It's like walking on
Mm,
a waterbed. Now that'll scare the crap out of guys that have never done that before. Because I take people out, we do drives and stuff, and you'll just see people go in panic mode. And I'll be walking right beside them. They don't see me going in panic mode, so I don't know why they do. But um, they think they're just going to fall through that and just never be seen again. But the reality of it is that mat is tough enough that if you go through, you put a leg through, you pull your leg back out, and maybe you put another leg through. But you're not going to just fall completely through under your head. Where you do get in trouble is if you try crossing canals or something like that. There are bad spots in marshes, and I've gotten into a few of them,
mm-hmm.
mostly by frozen ground. That's the most dangerous time to be in the marsh, believe it or not. Everybody waits till they're frozen to get out there because they feel like they can walk out in spots they couldn't get to before. But there's hot spots because rotting vegetation will heat up the water and it won't freeze. So you get this thin layer of ice, and it could have been really cold, but you'll have one spot that ain't frozen. And when you're walking on that, you're actually walking on some spot that's really unsafe and go right through and go over your head. One of the rules is you don't walk where there's no vegetation. If even on ice, if you see an open spot and there's no vegetation, walk around it. Stay in the cattails. Might be harder to walk, but it's safer. Um, Crossing the canals and stuff can be very bad because a lot of
Yeah.
times um, they're just filled with silt and they're really like 10 feet deep. And it's just silt filling them in. I mean, a lot of them, I'll go up to them and I'll poke a stick in there, like you break off a dead tree and you start putting it down there, and I'll go further than my head down, and I ain't hitting bottom. I think
Yeah.
about that buck we shot in the marsh. One of the guys shot it, and then everybody started shooting it to finish it off. It jumped in the water and started swimming across the marsh and swam across the like a bay and started to try to come up the cattails on the other side and died in the water. So we all went around to get it, and we get over there, and it's out in the water about 10 feet. We can't get it in. There's a little bit of ice there, but it's too thin to walk on, and you can't. There's nothing to grab it with. So we're trying to figure out how to get at that thing, and I was going to just wade out there, and we got a stick off of an island, and I went, and that stick was really long. It was a dead like pine tree that was really long.
Yeah.
There was no bottom. The water was like an inch deep, and I'm standing on this little hump that is floating around, or you're moving on it, and it's like you're standing on like an inner tube because it's floating and bobbing. And I poked that stick down all the way to the bottom with no effort, and there was no bottom. And that muck has a suction. You go under, you ain't coming back up. So you don't want to just jump into that water, even right on the edge. I mean, it can be bad. So you just got to be careful, but it's not really dangerous per se. The most
Mm-hmm.
dangerous time is when it's frozen. When it's soft, when it's hunting season, if you're coming up on something bad, you can feel it coming. It's not like it's all of a sudden. It's like all of a sudden you're putting legs through and stuff. I mean, you're not just going to keep walking out there. If also you put the leg through, your next step you put both legs through, and then the next step you're down to your armpits. You're not going to crawl out and go 10 more feet. You're going to go around it at that point. So you can feel it coming, except for when it's frozen.
If you want to watch more videos, there's options here and here. And if you want to subscribe, you can just click right here.